is LAPD repeatedly flying back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and at this distance I want to be clear, amplifying the sound of helicopter activity in it, and what coexists with the loud volume of helicopter activity, which shares the equal loud volume no matter how far or close they are, meaning when you see them flying right next to me, as opposed to you seeing them flying right over me, or as opposed to you seeing them already advanced at a great distance in front of me, even though I'm hearing a loud volume, that's the demonic ingredient, the demonic feature of what is amplification. The entity is doing so pursuant to what it is monitoring my conduct on a communication device. The people are acting in concert while moving all around in engineered light that's not sunlight, and you know that that's not sunlight because it's also occurring on my ceiling up here. None of this is sunlight. The entity is engaged in what is ongoing surveillance, not only in relevant position where you're looking at the light source. You can see it through the windshields of these vehicles parked at the same property where I'm showing you the light source over my head in the morning. The entity is, again, currently 5:09 p.m. where the sun is never going to be over my head at my leasing office on the same property at 11 in the morning. Okay, and also this is not sunlight that's going to appear on the inside of your apartment or your house, wherever it is on your ceiling, creating multiple shadows. Okay, the entity is doing so pursuant to a pattern. The pattern is based on what I am doing, and specifically the same people of the state that are group stalking right now are the same people that are going to federal prison, because this entity, as it is engaging as a psychopath, is engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct. This is the same entity that seeks to obstruct justice by utilizing the people of the state who are the mouthpiece of that state that's group stalking in a helicopter, exercising fictitious authority in the workplace, where the workplace is the crime scene, where that entity is group stalking me in concert with the third-party employer, not a legitimate employer, engaging in the state's criminal pattern of conduct. With the people of the state who you see pacing on Alvarado, engaging in workplace terrorism, sexual violence, and harassment as an entity. As you see them pacing on Silverview townhomes, they're all walking in engineered light, where the sun's not going to be over me at that property next door at 10 in the morning, and also still remaining in alignment to me what is 5:10 in the evening. That's the pattern of conduct in Silverview townhomes is specifically documented, meaning I walked to the front of that gate, took a picture of all of their addresses for purposes of documenting them, and there is no point in time in nature, period, where the sun's going to be over me at literally the adjacent property at 10 in the morning over my head and still in alignment to me after 5 p.m. in the evening. This is the malice that the people of the state that are speaker companies and all of them that live at this property where criminal surveillance is underway, and the entity that is speaker companies is referencing the entity that are the people that live at Alvarado Gardens as the substance of nothing other than the libelous and harassing documents serving to further obstruct justice and engage in what is terrorism. It is indeed terrorism while the entity that is keeping you under surveillance seeks to obstruct justice and also threaten your employment while they're terrorizing and group stalking you on the job. Okay, that's the psychopath that, by the way, that serves as the public safety concern. I want to make sure that I document what I have been noting, and I'm going to go ahead and take screenshots of it, because the entity has all day continuously engaged in what is group stalking, just like you see, flying back and forth over my apartment, which also includes, even while they're at that distance, shaking my apartment, vibrating my apartment, amplifying loud volume of the size of the sound of the helicopter, which, by the way, is also demonic. Okay, when you're flying over, there should not be an earthquake that coexists, and never is, again, are you engaging in that conduct by yourself. These are demons that are pacing up and down Alvarado Street, engaging in a sex offense while they're going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It's not traffic. It's called ongoing relevant positioning, and that's the whole population that's going to be prosecuted as the sex offender and the terrorist that it is, engaging in and facilitating what is federal group stalking and monitoring, which is terrorism in the state of California, and terrorist organizations such as the Los Angeles Police Department and Dominic Choi, who specifically are those that are facilitating what is an ongoing threat to the target individual's employment. Let me be clear, you're talking about going to federal prison by name. Any documentation that the entity wants to reference while it's engaging in monitoring, and whoever is specifically named, that specifically named person is communicating a threat to your employment. Doing so is an act of obstruction of justice for which the entity goes to federal prison. Okay, so who that person is already a matter of documentation, because this entity knows exactly who it presented when it sought to engage in a malicious act of obstruction of justice, and that person is already already a candidate for federal prison by virtue of their position and ongoing terrorism that's occurring on their watch and ongoing obstruction of justice, which they're monitoring on an ongoing basis with the men and women that are repeatedly and engaging in ongoing stalking and terrorism using helicopters. This is all evidence that I continue to gather, which is serving for time in federal prison for a very specific person. Okay, that specific person wants to threaten anything regarding my life, my liberty, my safety, my well-being, that threat is going to be translated into time in federal prison. And they communicate that threat in concert with the people who are of a demented condition, group stalking, not engaging in any traffic, not engaging in any privacy rights, not engaging in anything normal or natural. That's why they're driving around in engineered light like the demons that they are, while engineered light is touching all over my ceiling, and they're engaging in a sex offense on behalf of the state. And I'm going to prosecute them. All 35 units engaging in a sex offense, as you see, crossing a path and relevant positioning right now. Monitoring to the sound of my voice, and this is going to be presented in federal court against the entity. It is currently 5:13 p.m. This is P.O.C. The entity repeatedly crossing paths with a helicopter, amplifying the sound of helicopter, doing so while an unnatural environment remains, which is documentation of what is terrorism via directed light, where these same demons cross path and engineer light moves all across the walls, just like you see at the DMV, just like you see across the apartment buildings, just like I showed you on video while the entity was crossing path literally at Silverview Townhomes. That demon is representing what all 35 units are filled with, demons who are engaging in state surveillance and engaging in ongoing impunity while I document it, okay? This is served for the prosecution of the entirety of the state. Okay, it is again 5:14 p.m. This is P.O.C.